All right, what's going on, everyone? It's a big day because Dandadan is officially 200 chapters long. Crazy stuff. Kind of unbelievable. I do want to give a bit of a pep talk before we read the chapter, but it's crazy that Dandadan is where it is today. I mean, it's always been popular, but I feel like there was at least one point where people were like, all right, what's going on with this series? Like pre-anime, we didn't really know. People didn't even know if this series was getting would get an anime. Like prior to, I'd say like 2 years ago, right? So pre-Scott Pilgrim, right? We didn't even like know. People were still debating, like, is this series gonna get an anime, right? And before then, like, Dandadan was good, but I'd say like prior to the Space Globalists arc, people were like, what's going on with this series? Not that anybody thought it was bad or anything, but there was at least one point in the lifetime of this story where, you know, it was kind of the underdog, right? Like, people didn't really have high expectations for this series. People loved it. It was really hard to cover on YouTube, especially. Like, even guys like Scamboli Reviews had to finesse putting out like a really popular Dandadan review, but like everyone was reading it, so it was really weird, right? So yeah, Dandadan, 200 chapters is crazy. I don't think anyone doubted that we would get to this point, but we're all very fortunate. We're all very lucky. It's amazing that Dandadan is where it is today. I'll say more on that before we start the chapter, but I just wanted to open with that. How's everybody doing today? We got Jeremiah Walker. How you doing? Pleasure to have you. We got Edens. What's good, Edens? We got Maya. Sorry if I butchered your name there. Technically not first, but you were third, so top 3. You make the platform. Latest chapter was amazing. I'm excited. I did spoil myself a little bit. So I was looking through the chapter to see if there were any good thumbnail images, but I really didn't take a good look to know what happened. Eden says, I don't know why there's been much weirder and least popular stuff that have come out. I don't think. So again, this is pre-anime, so this is just the merits of the manga, right? Not to get into the controversies, but I just think Dandadan, it's not in Weekly Shonen Jump, right? So like prior to 2023, 2022, anything in Jump Plus was like really only for hardcore manga fans, I would say, prior to like 2022, 2021, right? Because I think Kaiju number 8 came out in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. And that made a decent wave in the community, but that was kind of the exception. Dandadan, how do I put this? Dandadan was always like talked about, but it was never really mainstream. I just think like the story is not too weird, but like very weird. And especially in the early chapters, people used to like come at Dandadan and say there's no story, it's just about Okarune's balls. For the first like 80 chapters or so, I would say there's really no, you know, big P, capital P plot. It's really just chasing after balls and romance. So I think that's why it struggled for the first couple of years. But I think once we got the Space Globalists arc, and especially now that we have the anime, people get Dandadan. I just don't think people got it before. We got Jose. What's going on, Jose? Pleasure to have you. Maybe it's just me, but even back then, I felt an anime was inevitable. Considering the rise in popularity, it was slowly getting, and arguably more controversial things got anime. Yeah, I don't think it was a matter of like it being too weird. I just think it was a matter of it being so weird that people didn't really get it, right? You know what I mean? You know, like when a series comes out and people are talking about it, but people are like, okay, but like, what's it about, right? It's kind of like I'll make a good analogy, because I just recorded a video on this. It's kind of like panty and stocking, right? It's not a perfect analogy, but panty and stocking and Dandadan both have a lot of, you know, toilet humor, right? But that's not why people are discouraged from checking it out. Maybe more so with panty and stocking. But like, if you're a casual fan of, or excuse me, if you are only like vaguely aware of panty and stocking and you only know of it because it's popular, I guarantee if I asked 10 people who haven't watched it, what is the premise? Like, what's the story? At least 6 or 7 of those people would have no idea what it's about, right? Because it's kind of a weird show. Like, there is a basic premise, but like it's weird, right? Like, it's hard to get, I guess is a good way of putting it. We got Sour in the chat. What's going on, Sour? Pleasure to see you. Even though Dandadan is not that niche, it surely was not mainstream enough. Yeah, it was never really mainstream. I would say it never really became mainstream until... I would say until the Kaiju arc. I would say the earliest it was mainstream was the Kaiju arc. Because I feel like it kind of got its first big wave of popularity right at the tail end of the Evil Eye arc. Speaking of, what's your opinion on the Panty and Stocking Season 2? So I don't want to say too much because, spoiler alert, I do have a video on this that will come out later this month. But, so my thoughts on Season 2. My only concern for Season 2, well, okay, so it's 2 concerns. My first concern is what they're going to do with the dub, if they even dub it, right? If it even gets an English dub. Because Panty and Stocking came out in 2010, kind of like at the peak of edgy internet humor, so it was more acceptable then, or it was more passable then. I don't know how they're going to approach all the like edgy humor of Panty and Stocking, especially in the English dub, which would be a shame because the dub is kind of what elevated Panty and Stocking to what it is today. It wasn't that popular in Japan. It was the English dub that gave it kind of a global reputation. And part of the dub is I'm kind of wondering what they're going to do with Garter Belt and Chris Sabat, because the trend these days is to, you know, right, when it's someone who's not the race of a character playing it, they cast someone else, right? I kind of hope that they just keep Chris Sabat because it's not really mainstream enough that I think it would create problems. Plus, it's such an old series. It's like, who cares, right? Plus, Chris Sabat is like such a figurehead in the industry that like, if you're going to do something like that, give it a Chris Sabat. I don't think anyone cares. My other concern, so we can get back to Dandadan, is I'm kind of wondering if they're going to tone down the like graphic humor. I feel like after a decade or so, they might tone things down. But I'm not worried. I honestly, if I was going to bet on it, I would say season 2 is going to be just as good, if not better, than season 1. So, official Ouji statement: Ouji is looking forward to Panty and Stocking season 2. The English dub voice actors are still alive and kicking, but yeah, due to the sensitivity in today's modern culture, it's going to be very tricky to pull off. I wouldn't even call it a sensitivity thing. I would just call it like, you know, different perspective, different place in culture, I guess. Just read Ekidon Bros. I don't even know what that is. Have I read the manga for Jormungand? No, I haven't even heard of that. From what I saw from the Evil Eye movie, it's setting up to be even better, in my opinion. Yeah, the anime looks really good. I don't know if I can say it looks better, but the animation looks really good. We got Justin in the chat. What's going on, Justin? Anyway, so I want to get into the chapter, right? That's what everyone's here for. But I already gave kind of a pep talk, basically saying that, you know, Dandadan fans are fortunate to be here. There was a point prior to the anime where everyone was like, you know, what's the lifeline of this series? And especially now, Dandadan is kind of, it's gone past the hurdle, for a lack of a better term. It had its first season. It got through the most controversial parts of the manga, and everyone kind of got over it. But it even got through 2, I wouldn't even call them controversies, but times of drama in the community. And it wasn't even the Dandadan community. It was people outside of the community stirring the pot, and then somehow the blame was put on Dandadan fans. But we surpassed it. We overcame it. First it was chibi reviews, not even a like part of the Dandadan community, and somehow created drama for Dandadan. And then there was the thing with the fan art that I honestly can't believe is a point of contention in 2025. Like, the fact that people care about that in 2025 is embarrassing. It's not even bad, it's just embarrassing. Like, it's fan art. If it was the official anime or something, right? Like what they do with Robin and One Piece, that's one thing. But it's fan art. Like, let people do what they want. Like, if you were a part of that drama and you are of the position that people can't draw characters however they want, it's like, I'm sorry, but it's just silly. Yeah, it was ridiculous. Exactly. It's like people were literally saying that that artist ruined the characters. And the comments under it were, again, just embarrassing. Embarrassing for, I say embarrassing, it's not that the Dandadan community was saying that. For the most part, Dandadan fans were like, this is cool. It's awesome, right? It's like the Dr. Stone community. The Dr. Stone community, there's like a ton of great fan art. But Dandadan fans are like, cool, love it. It was like people that don't even read Dandadan, like, oh, this is stupid. How do I think Dandadan will end? I don't know. I still think it's too early. I'm not even sure if Saint Germain is going to be the final villain. He feels like it. I feel like Tatsu is probably going to try and wrap things up around chapter 300 or so, maybe 350. But yeah. I'm not too, I still think it's too early. We might have to do like a theory stream, just like spitball Dandadan theories. I might, you know what I might do? I might do like a post and have everyone post their best Dandadan theory, and we'll like go through all the theories. I think that would be fun. Maybe we'll do that the next time Dandadan is on break, or maybe after season 2. If Dandadan reaches a similar chapter count to MHA, I'll consider it successful. I mean, it's already successful. It became one of the most mainstream anime in just one season. The manga is super popular. I don't know what your metric of success is, but I would already consider it just as successful as any other manga. Anyway, let's read the chapter. So, they did attack so supposedly the human typhoon is gone for good, right? And they did attack the Subterraneans, because the Subterraneans were like, well, this is great. Now we can go back to killing you and everyone else. And we were like, yeah, we have an issue with that. And then, of course, the old guy, I forget his name, the guy that was trapped in the board game, landed the plane. Fairly decent landing. Everyone's okay. They're getting off the plane. Oh, Evil Eye came back. I forgot about that. Evil Eye came back to attack the Subterraneans, but now he's passed out, I guess. Bamola goes, I was getting bit on the butt by sharks. That's awesome. Of course, everyone is still cursed because they need to get off the plane and figure out the curse. It's kind of crazy that they're still figuring out the curse after all that mess. So they sat down and empty space is over, and somehow everyone on the plane is acting as if nothing happened, which is crazy. Nothing happened in the real world. So this is, in case it wasn't clear before, this is pretty much a confirmation that when empty space takes place, it is a separate pocket dimension from reality. So like the main, I guess, dimension. Same timeline, but different point in space, I guess is a good way of putting it. Seems like a bit of character growth from Evil Eye, because there's like 36 people on this plane and he's not trying to kill them. Those people with the blades seem to have disappeared. I don't know. So everyone saw the typhoon, but they didn't see what was going on in the pocket dimension. So there's a bit of gray area for sure. Which character is more evil, Scratchman Apu or Pero Sparrow? Pero Sparrow, because he's like a jerk. Scratchman Apu is more of like a Weasley character. Like he's like a cowardly character. Pero Sparrow is like legitimately like a bad guy. From what I see, how Dandadan will end is to just let Okarun and Momo end up together. I think that much is obvious. As far as like capital P plot stuff, I'm not too sure yet. I still think it's too early. So anyway, the Subterraneans got blasted away. They're all in one piece, and they're on the moon now. So now they're moon men. That's gonna, I feel like that has to play into the end game, because they made a big deal of pointing out that of pointing out that they have this whole basically menagerie, whatever you call it. I don't know if that's the right word. Hatchery of death worms. So I feel like that's going to come back to play later in the story. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I don't think that's the last we saw of the Subterraneans. Then we cut to the Serpopians, or however you say their name. They're on their ship, and one of them is saying, "It failed. We teleported that typhoon from the Philippines, thinking it would bring down the plane, to think it was forced to dissipate." So the Serpopians want to stop Momo, not necessarily for their own gain, but they don't want her to get captured by Saint Germain. So it's not clear what's going on with Saint Germain. It doesn't seem like he has any clear alliance with anyone right now. He did seem to be working with the space globalists, the like big empire that got taken down. But now it just seems like he's doing his own thing, collecting allies, regardless of, you know, whether they're aliens, ghosts, humans, whatever. We got Gamer Chan Leanne in the chat. What's going on, Leanne? How you doing? Pleasure to have you. People didn't have this energy. Started insulting Japanese fan artists. Yeah, I'm not really too sure where you're going there. When it comes to fan art, I like just let people draw what they want. It's as simple as that. If you care about fan art, you are taking anime way too seriously. And I don't mean that like, oh, it's just anime, get a life. I mean that like, if you care so much that people can't draw fan art however they want, that is gatekeeping in the most embarrassing degree. That is how I feel about that. Like it's awesome if you care about a series, passionately, but caring about it in that way is just unhealthy and it's not cool. Leanne says, "I'm doing okay and I'm so hyped for the incoming animes in July." Yeah, the summer season is going to be great. I have to figure out, I haven't had a chance yet, but I got to figure out what we're going to do for later this week, because I want to do an anime expo stream. It seems like the 4th is going to be the day to cover it, which would be Friday, because they're supposed to make a bunch of big announcements on Friday. Neat little detail in the chapter. Zuma and Gigi go back to their original seats from takeoff, symbolizing their blossoming friendship, at least in my opinion. Let's go back, because I missed that. Did they sit next to each other? So yeah, they are sitting next to each other on the plane. It is worth noting that it's technically not Gigi, it's Evil Eye, right? Didn't they tell Gigi to sit next to him? Or didn't they tell Zuma to sit next to him? I'm not sure. I do think that might be a hint that like they're cool now. I don't think Zuma ever really cared. I think it was just Gigi being insecure, but I think they're cool-ish now. I don't think they're like best friends or anything, but I think they're cool. So anyway, the Serpopians are moving in, right? They have to gather an army, it seems. So they might also, it seems like the pieces are moving slowly. The The pawns are moving. We're setting up our bishops. We're castling, right? There are moves being made. I'd have to go back and check, but I think it was similar to Space Globalist when all the damage was just gone after the battle. Yeah. I think that's mostly what seems to happen with Empty Space. Okay, so we cut back to Team Ira, and they arrest that teacher, Mr. Murakami, the underwear guy. And the police are talking to Koki. How many volumes are out in English for Dandadan? I think it's like 20 something. Let's check real quick. The last chapter, according to Viz, is volume 13. Excuse me. Anyway, so Koki is talking to the police. She's talking to one officer, and she's present with Queen Sensei, so the nurse. Teen Gohan just subscribed. Wow, Teen Gohan, that's an honor. Hopefully we can see a team up Kamehameha. Anyway. And there's another teacher that seems to be present. So there's two teachers, right? So it's very cool. It's very pro Koki in this scene. She says Mr. Murakami threatened me, saying he would spread pictures of me in my underwear. So this is like another great Koki moment, because her big hang up was one, she really had two hang ups, mostly. One, she was very insecure about playing the piano because she lost, and so she had a hard time playing it anymore. She got over that. And then the other thing was obviously being threatened by her teachers with the pictures. And now it seems like she's gonna finally overcome that part of her past as well. So I've said this before, and I want to emphasize it again. Koki has had significantly more character growth in, I think it's like 30 chapters now. Koki has had substantially more character growth in 30 chapters than Gigi has had in roughly 100 chapters. I just want that to sink in for everybody. Koki has more character growth in 30 chapters than Gigi has in roughly 100 chapters. That is the story of Gigi. I just want to put that out there. Anyway, that's my rant. Have I seen the new Dandadan opening song? I've heard the song, but I want to see the opening. The song sounds good. I know the song is out. I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know if they showed the opening in the movie. Obviously, I think they're showing Dandadan at Anime Expo, which starts Thursday? Yeah. No, it starts Wednesday. So we might get the opening ahead of time, but we'll see. Now the opening wasn't in the movie. So yeah, they Science Saru, at least with Dandadan. I don't know about some of their other recent anime. Well, specifically with Dandadan, they've made the effort to make a showcase of the opening, which is good because it works in their favor, right? I mean, the first opening was insanely viral. I don't think the second opening is going to be nearly as viral, but Science Saru is pretty consistent with its openings. I mean, I can't really think of a show they've done that has a bad opening. So I think it'll be good. I don't think it's going to be... I think it will be viral, but I don't think it'll be nearly as, like, I guess, mainstream as the first one. We'll see. Anyway, so Koki is making a statement to the police. Ira is so banged up, she's going to the hospital. So now it's Kinta, Rin, and Okarun. They're talking about what just happened. Okarun says, Rin, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Ira and Koki were both protecting me. So Hase, the kid that's like the brat, right? Like the bully of Okarun, he's back to his normal self. Seems to have, you know, been out of his mind, literally. Doesn't remember what happened. And now he's going to the hospital. And Kinta points out this case still isn't solved, according to the young lady. Murakami, much like Yukishiro, was instructed by someone to collect abilities. Kinta says there's a story overseas about an old man who drove a tractor who was actually mafioso. Also, the members of such an organization don't usually know one another's names or faces. So he's basically surmising from like criminal history that this is an organization that has one brain, one leader, and none of the members actually know who the other members are, to keep it as secret as possible. So it's almost like, I guess, Passione from JoJo Part 5, right? Like it's a super, super secret criminal organization, and everyone talks through like either a middleman or the brain, but none of the like subordinates really know that much about each other. So now Kinta has like the ultimate main character speech, and he says, what's important now is our connections with comrades we trust. If the bonds of the History and Culture Research Club are strong, then we need fear no enemy. Okarun and Rin are like, yeah, man, nice speech. Rin is kind of growing on me. I'm not crazy about her. I feel like she's one of the weaker characters. I like her better when she's just like normal. I think her transformation is in serious need of a revamp. I mostly avoid and skip anime openings because they will sometimes have spoilers. Very fair, especially with anime. Other times anime openings can be misleading. Also true. A recent example, Solo Leveling Season 2. The devil boss, the boss of the tower, they hyped up that fight in the opening, which it was fun. Don't get me wrong. That was a great fight. But they hyped that up like it was going to be like an episode long fight. And it was like 2 minutes tops. That fight was like one of the shortest fights in the whole season. But they hyped it up like it was super long. And the ant fight, the Ant King fight, was even longer. And they barely showed that in the opening. So I agree. Anime openings can be very misleading. They do that shit with One Piece too. One Piece, not even talking about spoilers. One Piece openings, if you're anime only, they can be very misleading. Um, luckily, they commented she can change her design when she gets better control. When did that happen? Was that in the recent fight? I hope so, because I think her outfit is just awkward. I don't even think it's bad. It's just like awkward. Can't decide class rep. Class rep. You're not a good judge of people, so you need to be more careful. What is he talking about? Is that a reference to something that happened? When has she not been a good judge of character? We get an eye roll from Okarun, which is probably the first eye roll / side eye we've gotten from Okarun I think we've ever seen. That's amazing. I think during the basketball fight. Okay, that's what I thought. Because I remember they made a comment about her costume. They were like, Manjiro finally shows up long after the fight is over. He says, I'm here to protect you guys. They give something to Okarun. Oh my god. Is Okarun about to become the Maki of Dandadan? Is he about to become the Yuta of Dandadan? Is he about to get a cursed weapon? Oh my god, please give him a sword. Give this boy a sword. Let him be a cursed sword user. Please, God, please. Oh, man. Eddie Rayman, what's going on, Eddie? Pleasure to have you. It's been a hot minute. How you doing? But yeah, I'd say this is like an 8 out of 10 chapter. Obviously, it was a cooldown chapter, but it had a ton of great character moments. We got a bit of insight into where the story is headed next, and we ended on a very interesting cliffhanger. Bro, give this man a sword. Let him be a cursed sword user. I need this. This needs to happen. Give this man a sword. We'll see. I'm not getting my hopes up. Maybe. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I do want to kind of talk about my thoughts on season 2. I do want to look at the Manga Plus rankings. I'm not sure how they update them. I think they just do them every Sunday, but I want to see. Yeah, so Dandadan is still number 4. I don't think Dandadan is ever going to hit the top 3, just because it's always One Piece, it's always Boruto. And as much as people trash Chainsaw Man or meme on Chainsaw Man, it's still, the manga at least, I don't know about the anime, but the manga is significantly more popular. Well, I wouldn't say significantly, but noticeably more popular than Dandadan. Like, Chainsaw Man hasn't been out yet, and it's got 301,000 points. Dandadan just came out today, and it's got 172,000 points. So yeah. I am curious to see what's going to happen to the manga during season 2, because season 1 definitely brought in a new wave of manga fans for sure. I think the discourse around the manga is the biggest it's ever been since prior to the anime. I am curious to see if we're gonna get like one more big wave, because I think after season 2 everyone's like kind of used to an anime, right? Yeah, Manga Plus is largely the same, so I'm not gonna bother, excuse me, going through the rankings. We already looked at that yesterday. I'm kind of tired, however, welcome July. Yeah, it's officially summer. Obviously summer solstice was a week ago, but you know, depending on what part of the world you live in, it's getting real hot. Um, but I do want to reiterate that Thursdays are going to be crazy because... So let's look actually, because I don't want to stream Thursday and Friday. I just don't have the time to do that. So Dandadan comes out Thursday, right? Am I tripping right now? Let me see. I'm pretty sure it comes out Thursday. Also, for everyone in chat, how do we feel about the music in today's stream? Was it good? Was it all right? This is now the third source for lo-fi music that I've had to use for stream. My usual source, as you know, kept claiming the music, so every time I use them, my streams would get demonetized. And then my fallback, which has always been promoted as, you know, royalty free, started doing the same thing. So I found a new one. It's, you know, fairly generic, but it's good from what I can tell. Fingers crossed, right? Don't want to put the evil eye on it, but hopefully I don't want to be in the situation where I just don't play music in streams. Not that it would be the end of the world, but, you know, most situations are made better with a little bit of music, right? Dinner, board games, reading. It's always better with a little bit of music. So it would be extremely unfortunate if I had to make the decision to just not have music. It would be pretty weak if you ask me. All right, let's look at summer season. Dandadan. No, Dandadan drops Friday? Is that right? So Dandadan is on Fridays now? Am I crazy? Let's check Crunchyroll. I thought Dandadan was gonna be Thursdays again. Or was it Thursdays? Am I crazy? Am I like totally out of my mind? July 3rd. Okay, so I'm not crazy. So yeah, Thursday. Dandadan is Thursday. My Dress Up Darling is Saturday? Saturday. Gachi Akuta is Sunday. Kaiju isn't for like 3 weeks, which is kind of crazy. So Dandadan is Thursdays. Dr. Stone isn't for a couple of weeks, but that will also be Thursdays. Panty and Stocking, if you're cultured, will also be Thursdays. So Thursdays are going to be lit. Thursdays are going to be like the best day of all time ever in the history of everything, basically. What about Fragrant Flower? Is it not on? Oh, somebody said it's on it's Netflix exclusive. Yeah, that's right. Rent a Girlfriend comes out tomorrow? What? Bro. Oh, I'm not ready for this. Expect a lot of Rent a Girlfriend. Not from your boy, but expect a lot of Rent a Girlfriend videos this week, because after the recent reaction to the manga, I think a lot of people are gonna try and milk that cash cow for sure. That's Sunday. Fragrant Flower is Sunday. Okay, so Sunday and Thursday seem like the best days for anime this season. I think that's mostly it, right? Is there any carryover from last season? I don't think so. Fire Force is over. Lazarus is over. Windbreaker is over. Witch Watch is still going. No. Is it? Witch Watch episodes. Oh no, Witch Watch is still going. All right, cool. Right? Or am I crazy? It's listed for 26 episodes. So no, it's still got another core. So Witch Watch is still going for all the Witch Watch fans. Kowloon Generic Romance is wrapping up. Vigilantes is over. Yeah, for the most part, everything is pretty much over. The only thing that's carrying over is Witch Watch. Yeah, it's crazy. This was a surprisingly tame season. Fire Force should have been more impactful, but like I've said a million times, it just didn't have that sauce. I feel like, let's go by, if I'm looking at Mal, or let's look at live charts. If we go to spring 2025, Windbreaker, I feel like Windbreaker is a weird one because I feel like, let's look at Crunchyroll. Let's go to popular. So it's currently on Crunchyroll. Solo Leveling, Apothecary Diaries, Fire Force, some isekai fantasy thing, One Piece, Daima, Shangri-La Frontier. So none of the spring anime broke the top 5. The only one that really came remotely close was The Beginning After the End, which everybody said was trash, and Windbreaker. The Windbreaker is in the top 13. It's not even in the top 10. So yeah, this was a surprisingly weak spring season. It came at the perfect time because this summer is going to be this is like one of the best seasons, one of the most stacked seasons. If I checked out Lord of Mysteries, no, but I feel like there's going to be an interesting dialogue with that one because I have a lot of people saying it's supposed to be good, but I can't remember where, but I thought I saw a video saying the anime is supposed to be bad or something like that. There's already drama with the anime. The first 2 episodes look like goddamn movies. Okay. Let's look at I know that's the Chinese series, right? Lord of Mysteries. What's the studio that's doing it? BC May Pictures. So I'm assuming this is a Chinese studio. Yeah, it looks like a Chinese studio. Fair enough. So where is it streaming then? Is it Crunchyroll? Because it's technically not an anime. To Be Hero X isn't going to end until September. Okay, I missed that one. It's on Crunchyroll, just like To Be Hero X. Okay, all right. Oh yeah, I see To Be Hero X. That's number 11, so it just missed the top 10. So that one's actually fairly popular. is the year of Chinese anime, so Chinese shows. It seems like this was kind of their season, right? Or this is going to be their season. We'll have to see how they do later in the year. Vinland Saga is going to have a depressing ending. Yeah, it's supposed to be tragic, right? I won't spoil it for anyone who isn't caught up with the manga, but it's supposed to be like kind of a bitter ending. I have a pretty clear idea of basically how it's going to go down. But I am curious on what Yukimura decides to focus on in the last chapter, and like what kind of final message or final note he ends things on, because he could really go in a bunch of different directions. Heard the novel is a slow burn, but the animation is good. All right, duly noted. Anyway, that's going to be it for today's stream. Keep an eye out for later in the week. I'm probably going to push our usual Thursday stream to Friday and stream Anime Expo just to see what the hubbub is about that day. That may change, but we'll see. The video schedule is going to be kind of weird for the next week or so. You'll see why afterwards. But look out for a July post either tomorrow or probably Wednesday. There'll be a July post Wednesday because there's no uploads that day. But this month, there's a lot of exciting videos, and I have a lot of exciting shows, and I have a lot of exciting videos planned. There'll be a big return to Dandadan videos, which is nice. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I will see you guys probably Friday. Peace.